I have found myself over the years giving a lot of advice to people who work for me, especially women, and I would say, take up the space. Be good at your job and say, you know what, I can do this.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to Breaking and Entering, a show where we talk to industry professionals about their career path and their journey. Today, I have a special guest. She's a Primetime Emmy Award winning producer, Sandi Johnson. How you doing today, Sandi?
I'm good.
Good.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for being here. It's awesome that you're here. So let's start. Where are you from?
I grew up in Arnold, Maryland,
Okay.
which is a little bit outside of Annapolis.
Okay.
Very small town.
Okay. So what brought you to LA?
I took a really roundabout route. I went to Smith College up in Massachusetts and studied English and theater. English was what my mom thought was going to be the safety career, which I don't really know what English majors do that actually pays. But theater was what I loved. And so after I graduated, I moved to New York to work in theater. I lived there almost 7 years before I moved to LA.
Did you have a different passion, or is producing your passion?
When I initially came out to Los Angeles, I really, really wanted to work in scripted television. And I wrote so many letters, just regular US post office letters, because email was still pretty new. And I could not get somebody to give me a job serving coffee on a scripted show, but reality TV was starting and there were lots of opportunities, and if you were good, you moved up fast. So I did one show as an assistant story producer, then the next show story producer, and then the next show I ended up running the department. And I think people are realizing now how much crafting of story there is in reality TV. You shoot hundreds and hundreds of hours of footage and then have to shape it down into an hour that goes on TV. As a producer in reality TV, you get to do a little bit of everything. I direct, I write, I work with designers. There's so much room to be more creative and do so much in reality. So I do actually love a lot of what I do.
Tell me a little bit about the jobs that you had that molded you to where you are now.
The two jobs that I always say have kind of helped me the most in my career were being an executive assistant and working in fast food.
Wow.
So I used to work at Kentucky Fried Chicken
How'd that
when I
help?
was in college. Working in fast food, you have to always be on. You have to be friendly. You have to always be looking for what needs to be done. You can't sit around and wait for somebody to tell you something to do. If it's slow right now, what can you get a jump on? Be cleaning the tables. Don't ever be standing around doing nothing. I guess you could say hustle. I learned hustle at fast food. And then executive assistant, the thing I learned most was to juggle many things. You have to manage many balls and you better always be ready with an answer and always know the status of every project. My first executive assistant job was for one of the head producers or founders of New York State and Film, Leslie Ordine. And she was the one who really, she's a tough lady. She had so many things going on, and I'd never done it before, and I would go in and she'd be like, did you do this, did you do that? And I'd be like, and so she was like, you have to make a list and, keep it all going. And so I learned follow through. You can't leave things hanging and undone or you get fired. Not that I got fired, but I certainly got yelled at a couple times. I learned fast. So yeah.
It's kind of like how Mr. Miyagi and Danielson in Karate Kid, where he's teaching him how to, make him wax a car, but eventually he learns the lesson why he was doing it. You have to have jobs, being the hustler at those jobs and being in tune with the job, because later in life you'll rely on that skill set. So I think that's an excellent point. So what was some of your biggest influences?
Josh Astrachan, who's now one of my closest friends, runs a company called Animal Kingdom. He just has such integrity and kindness. It's really important to me in reality TV to always be kind to people and treat people well. It's not just being a good person, it's good business too. If you leave people glad to have worked with you, they'll want to work with you again. Some of the influences that I've had are people who really brought other people along or really are open to helping other people. Shaz Bennett, she is a writer-director who used to program for a lot of big film festivals like Sundance. She ran the West Coast version of an organization called Film Fatales.
Okay.
And she invited me to join and basically approached me and said, like, you know, I see what you do in reality TV every day as a showrunner and what you do on these reunions, and you're a director, so come join this organization, come to the dinners, come talk about it, you know, come be part of this. And I just was, it was such an amazing thing to have somebody be like, oh, I see something of value in you, like come do this, you know. And I feel like she does that in all aspects of her career. You know, I hope I am doing that as well to other people.
That's awesome. Winning the Emmy, that's a pretty big thing. Like, how did you feel when you found out you were being nominated for a Primetime Emmy?
It didn't seem real at all. The nominations come out so long after you've actually like finished working on the project. So I was already on the next season of the show. It was sort of like this surreal, like, oh, you got nominated. Okay, let me just focus on getting this show done right now. And nobody thought we were gonna win. You know, we just expected, like, you know, here we go again, but thanks for the party, guys.
Right.
It was great. And my mom came out, it was really fun.
Couldn't even imagine what that's like. I mean, you got the E out of EGOT.
You got
the E part, you got the E, so. What type of advice would you give your younger self, knowing where you are now?
If I could go back and talk to myself at 23, I wish that I could tell myself, just, you know, just chill out. You know, doing theater in New York and kind of freelancing project to project and temping, I was always broke and always felt like, you know, 2 weeks away from being homeless. And so there was this kind of like constant anxiety that I had. It takes a toll and it affects what you do. So I wish I could go back and be like, you know what, you're fine. You're gonna be fine. Everything's gonna be fine.
Right.
Yeah.
You gave some really good advice to your younger self. What advice would you give to someone that is looking to, not necessarily even getting to producing, but what advice would you give to them pursuing something that they feel like is their passion?
You know, I have run a lot of departments. I've been the boss of a lot of people. I've done a lot of job interviews. And I find that this sort of cliche that you hear about women coming in, and no matter how experienced they are, how confident they are at their job, the confidence is missing. And I find a lot of men, having done something once, can come in and bullshit and be like, oh yeah, I'm totally great at that, I'm awesome. Sure. I had an editor, he would sit there with the Avid manual on his lap, trying to figure out how to work Avid because he had bullshit his way. And you know, I felt for the guy. He was he stayed later than everybody else and had like this scared rabbit mentality, but still he talked himself into that job. Whereas a woman will come in and be like, yeah, you know, I've done it a little bit. I'm gonna work really hard. I think I can probably do it pretty well. I mean, I don't wanna make promises that and I would say, like, to have the confidence that you've earned, not just the confidence to bullshit somebody that you can do something, but to say like, yeah, I'm good at that and believe it. And if you do your job, like, people who are good get noticed. People who are good move up.
We appreciate your time, Sandi. You're always amazing. You know, you're one of my favorite people. So I think that everybody appreciates you spending this time with us.